Oh, didn't notice I had a crowd. You probably wonder why standing in front of my cell. Well, I come really accustomed to my cell. Spent a long time there. Probably wondering why I like my cell so much, huh? You think I'm crazy? Cuckoo. Well, maybe I am. But you would be too if you were in my shoes. You want to hear about it? I'm mad. I'm going to tell you anyway. It was that day on my execution. The whole town was in uproar. They had to be talking about me. You know who I am, right? Everybody should know me. You know, the murderer, the thief, the riotous, Barabbas. You've got to heard about me. I'm so notorious. You haven't heard about me? None of you? Well, it all happened that day. The whole crowd, they were yelling out. They were saying, "Crucify him!" They had to be talking about me. Who else would they be talking about? I was the only one that was so notorious for being a criminal. You think it? I done it. My suspicion was confirmed when after that I heard a loud yell, "Barabbas!" They cried my name. Yep, they were coming for me. I was in my cell. Where is there to hide? It's just a cell. Soon I would hear the sound of soldiers' feet coming to take me to my execution. Then they came. They opened up the cell, and they said, "You're free, go!" Me? Free? I just heard them. They were crying out for my death. And they said, "You're free. A man named Jesus is taking your place. Go!" Well, I hurried up out there. Don't want them to change their mind. But there was a question. Who's this Jesus? Have you heard about him? I haven't heard a criminal named Jesus. Who could have been worse than me? Why would they release me and put Jesus in my place? So I did what a curious mind would do. I followed the crowds to the place where they would execute him. I followed them to the cross. Now there was two guys already up there. I recognized them. They were my two cellmates. They were just thieves. I'm a murderer, they're a thief. They get the cross, I get freedom. Doesn't make sense. What was Pilate thinking? Yeah, I knew that Pilate released the guy. Because it was a custom at this time to release a guy. Why would Pilate choose to give an option between me and this Jesus? I mean, this Jesus must have been really some scum. But why not give an option between a thief? But I had no time to think because here he came. I looked upon him. I didn't recognize him. But I don't care if you were his mother. You would have never recognized him. He was so beaten from the face down to his feet. Blood everywhere. This guy must have been some really bad guy. They put a crown of thorns on his head. They twisted it in there. Swelling caused all around his head, his face. And then they hanged him on the cross. It was him, all right. That was the one that took my place. How did I know? They put a sign above his head. It said, Jesus, King of the Jews. That's his sentence, King of the Jews? Oh, I was expecting something like mass murderer, terrorist. But King of the Jews? Why did the people want him be released? I didn't know. So I listened to the crowd. And my opportunity came to find out what this criminal was about. So some people passing by, and they mocked him. Said, "Oh, you saved others, huh? Well, let us see if you can save yourself. If you are the King of the Jews, you're the Son of God." Wait a minute. This did not make sense. They were saying, he saved others? If I saved your life, would you call me a criminal? What's the world going to? Oh, so I wanted to find out. So I kind of ran up to the guy. Hey, you must know what he done. He said he saved others. What do you mean? What did he do? Oh, they laughed at me. I'm just asking a question. They said, you must be the only one who hasn't heard about his miracles, his healing, raising the dead. Where have you been? Wait a minute. Miracles, healing, raising the dead. What's wrong with that? I don't even know how they do it, but it doesn't sound like a bad guy to me. So I asked him, okay, so he's on the cross because he did miracles? And they said, no, stupid. He's on there because he thinks he's the Son of God. So what? Doing all those things sounds like a good guy to me. Maybe he is. But that question came back to me still. Why did he get the option of turning over this guy? And why did they give the option of me to be free? Why not one of the thieves? Oh, there was love in the guy's face. He probably was the Son of God. I mean, when they put him up there, you'd think he'd be angry. But instead, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. A guy forgiving them when they're doing this to him, especially if he's innocent. So I knew where I could get answers. Yes, there's only one place that I could find answers. Yep, Pilate himself, the Roman governor, the one that had him executed, and the one that gave the option of me. You don't believe me? Well, I know. You think I'm crazy, huh? Cuckoo. Well, I'll show you. I'll let him tell you his story. And you'll believe. Yeah, you just wait. Pilate, you gotta go out there. There's a crowd out there. They want to hear your side of the story. Barabbas, you didn't tell them about us, did you? Of course I told them about us. You know what would happen if Caesar gets to hear of this? He'd have my head for being friends with you. Don't you remember what you did? Oh, they won't tell. You won't tell anyway, will you? Didn't think so. Oh, they won't tell. You gotta go out there. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's putting really a lot of risk. Oh, come on. They gotta hear your side of the story. Not gonna do it. You know I can't do that. You gotta go out there. They think I'm crazy. Cuckoo. See? Even the birds think I'm crazy. Barabbas, you are crazy. What are you talking about? Oh, come on. They're expecting to hear a story. I told them that you'd be out there. Okay, you know what? You're right. I got to go out there because that side of the story is important. But I won't be caught with you. You stay here, and I'll go out to the people. Okay, just get going. Have you seen that Barabbas around here? I heard he was around here. If I find him, I'll... You know what? Barabbas! Okay, I guess the word is out. Yes, I'm friends with Barabbas. But you better not tell Caesar. I'll deny everything. But I guess you want to hear my side of the story.
Old man, what do you think you're doing?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm telling them my side of the story. So listen to me.
Listen to you? If you had listened to me, none of this would have happened.
Oh, just go inside. She's right. If I would have just listened to her that day, none of this would have happened. She tried telling me. This man was brought to me early in the morning, after all time. I asked about him. They said he was a Galilean. So I sent him to Herod. Hey, it's not my jurisdiction. That's Herod's jurisdiction. But I didn't get it out of that easily. Herod sent him right back to me saying, I don't find anything wrong with him. You try him. Okay? So, there's something different about this guy. When I questioned him, he didn't even answer himself. All the accusations against him, and he had nothing to say for himself. Now, I could tell he was innocent. It's just so different about this guy. I've executed many innocent people. No problem. Whatever keeps the peace. But this guy didn't even try to defend himself. He knows the power I have to crucify. Who was this man? And then my wife sent me a message. She said she had a dream about him. To have nothing to do with him. This righteous man, because she had a dream and she was so disturbed about it. So I tried having him released. Now this was not easy. The people were getting in an uproar. They wanted him crucified. I asked them, why? What crime has he committed? But they just cried out, crucify him! I was getting nowhere. So, I had him scourged. Yeah. I thought if I gave him a nice beating, and when he came out, he looked really, really horrible, they'd say, okay, he's all right. He's got his punishment due. So when I brought him out, I said, behold, your king! They just cried out, crucify him! I was getting nowhere. I wanted to release him, but I had a duty to uphold the peace, and this was turning into a mob. But I remembered, okay, we have a custom. We release somebody on this day of Passover. Now, if I could think, I have a notorious prisoner, a murderer. Everybody hates him. If I give him a choice between this man Barabbas and Jesus, of course they're going to want to crucify Barabbas, and Jesus will be free. So I came to the people, Okay, you have a custom that we release a man unto you. Whom do you want to release? Barabbas or Jesus, whom you call the Christ? Do you know that the people cried out for Barabbas to be released? What could I do? I had to keep the peace. And so, I had Barabbas released. And then I sentenced Jesus to be executed by crucifixion.
You have a trial in an hour.
I gotta go. I'll get Barabbas back out here and he'll tell you the rest of the story. Yeah, I'm back. Had a great meal. You should try some of the Pilate's wife's cooking. It's the best chicken you ever tasted. But anyway, the rest of the story goes. I got some of my answers from Pilate. But there were still more answers to be found. There was one other place that I could find for these answers. I needed to find more about Jesus. So I went to his disciples. Yeah, it took me a couple of days to find out where they would hide. But actually, it wasn't too long because they were out in the public talking about a resurrection, that he rose. But I found him. Now, I thought they were going to, I knew they had to be making up the story. Come on, resurrection. If you've seen the guy, he was dead as nails. But I found him. I came to him. I thought they would reject me because, I'm the one that put to death their Messiah. If I wasn't there, he would have been released. And he was innocent. I was guilty. But I found him. I asked, who was this guy? Who was he? He's not like anyone I've seen. And why are you accepting me? Why do you bring me into your home? You know what they replied? They're criminals too. It's like, what have you guys done? Nothing like me. And then they showed, if you were on a scale of the worst sinner and the worst criminal you could find, which you might think you are, and the best person on this earth, in God's eyes, they are the same. The same? What do you mean? Most of you guys, you wouldn't be executed. But I should have been executed that day. Hey, don't try to puff me up. I know I'm a criminal. What do you think you guys are? But no, they insisted. You know what? There's a law book. And they said, each one of us broke a law. You know what they're saying, right? You guys are all criminals. You know that? You're all criminal. Now, this doesn't make sense. So I had them explain themselves. What do you mean they're a criminal? And they said, here's the law book. Have you lied? Has anyone lied here? All it takes is one offense. Makes you a criminal because you broke the law. Sure. And you probably all have done it too. Otherwise, you're lying to me right now. Okay, so we're all criminals. What's the charge? What's the verdict? What does the cross for that? Mine was execution. What's the verdict for just a lie? You know what they said? Death. On the cross. Eternal separation from God. Well, that's what I deserve, but what about you guys? I mean, your guys are good. They says, no, we're all not good. We've all sinned, we've fallen short. So there's no hope then? Normally, no. But that's when it all made sense. See, I was released that day, but do you know what? You can be too. You can be released from that criminal nature. And you can be innocent. How is that? The cross. Jesus took my place, and he took yours. And then he rose again. And you know what? When I believed them, something changed. It's evidence that what they were saying is true. Because the things that I wanted before changed. I was different. I never wanted to go back and kill somebody again. And you know what? You check your money, it's still there. You don't know how good I was. I could have stole your money without you knowing. But you can check it. It's all there. Because I'm changed. And it's not because of what I done. It's because of what he done. You still think I'm crazy? Didn't think so.
Cuckoo.